Hello, I'm Rabbi Elton from the Great Synagogue in Sydney, and welcome to From the Rabbi's Bookshelves. The most important contemporary volume of Jewish law is called the Shulchan Aruch. It was written by Rav Yosef Karo in the 16th century, and has become the basis for all subsequent legal decisions, particularly for Ashkenaz and Sephardim, although not the Yemenite Jewish community. Because it became such an important work, it was surrounded very early on by many commentaries. First, Rav Moshe Isserlis wrote a gloss on the Shulchan Aruch, giving the Ashkenazi perspective because Rav Yosef Karo was a Sephardi, and then there were many other commentaries in addition to that. These became very unwieldy and difficult to manage and cope with, and therefore, at least for the first volume of the Shulchan Aruch, or Hacohen, which deals with day-to-day law, it became obvious there needed to be a succinct and clear commentary to help people decide what they should do in their everyday life. That need was supplied by Rav Yisroel Meir Hacohen Kagan, known as the Chafetz Chaim. Chafetz Chaim is in one of his early works. It's about the importance of not speaking slander and gossip, lashon hara. He was born in 1838, died in 1933. And this is his volume, Mishnah Berurah, a clear and easy to understand summary of the subsequent positions on the Shulchan Aruch. I'm going to give an example of one of the issues that he deals with. He deals with the entirety of Orach Chaim, and also of his approach, which has been called by Benjamin Brown and others soft stringency. He will point you towards the position he wants you to take, the ideal position, but leave open a more lenient position for those who need to take such a position. So what we're going to do is we're going to look first at the Shulchan Aruch itself, the text that was written around 1500, and then turn to the Mishnah Berurah and his commentary. So let's start with the Shulchan Aruch. He says, Yesh omrim, there are those who say, in other words, there's opinion in the world, along the following lines. Sheberchas hamazon ta'un hakos afilu b'yachid. If somebody eats bread, and then they bench, they recite grace after meals, they have to use a kos, a cup of wine, when they bench. They have to hold a cup of wine as they bench, and then say Pri B'Gafen and drink the wine. That's opinion number one. Opinion number two. V'yesh omrim she'ena tuna kos ela b'shlosha. You only need to have a cup of wine for benching if there's been three of you eating together and you have what's called the zimun, the call to bench. Opinion number two. Here's opinion number three. V'yesh omrim she'ena tuna kos klal afilu b'shlosha. You never need to use a cup of wine when you recite the grace after meals. So three opinions, and the Shulchan Aruch does not give you a clear view which one you ought to follow. Maybe the Ramah, Rav Moshe Isserlis from the Ashkenazim, will help and will give us an indication which one we should follow. Umikol makom, nevertheless, mitzvah min hamuvcha, the best way to perform the mitzvah, levarech al hakos, is to recite the grace after meals while holding a cup of wine. Now what's the Ramah doing? He's telling us we have to use a cup of wine or not. The Mishnah Berurah comes along and helps us and tells us. Ratzon Lomar, that is to say, da'af l'da'aso, even according to this opinion, she'ein ta'un kos klal, hainu she'ein b'achiyuv, even according to those who think there's no need for a cup of wine, there is no obligation to have a cup of wine when you recite benching, aval kuli alma modim de'mitzvah min hamuvcha levarech al hakos. It is certainly the best thing to do. So he's telling you two things. The best way to proceed, which is to use a cup of wine, but that there is no obligation to do so. That is the soft stringency. He's telling you what you should do ideally, which is a stricter position, a more difficult position to fulfill, but he's telling you don't worry if you can't fulfill it because there's no obligation in this area. So not being determinative, especially of a strict position, but nudging you towards the approach he'd like you to take. So what he's done is he's resolved an ambiguity in the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah, and also directed you towards his ideal position, but left a lesser position open to you if you need to in those circumstances. Thanks for joining.